Hello world, Assalamu alaikum. This is shonglap news now. Biman reduces ticket price for Umrah pilgrims. Dhaka, September 10, 2024. BSS. Biman Bangladesh Airlines has announced a reduction in ticket prices for Umrah pilgrims traveling from Bangladesh to Jeddah and Medina. Biman has opened all booking classes, allowing Umrah pilgrims to purchase tickets under any available fare classes or reservation booking designators (RBD), similar to regular passengers, a Biman's press release said here today. Previously, Umrah tickets were restricted to two specific RBD. This change applies across all distribution channels, offering more flexibility and options for travelers. Pilgrims who book their tickets early will benefit from the lowest available fares. Additionally, those planning to start their Umrah journey by traveling directly from Bangladesh to Medina will receive attractive discounts on their tickets, said the press release. US Senate Majority Whip expresses support to Professor Yunus. Dhaka, September 10, 2024. BSS US Senate Majority Whip Dick Durbin has expressed his support to Bangladesh's interim government led by Nobel Peace Laureate Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus. On Monday, the whip took to the US Senate floor in Washington, D.C., voiced his backing for Dr. Yunus, who faced decades of harassment by ousted Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, according to press release received here today. In his remarks, Darwin detailed Dr. Yunus's lifelong work of developing microloan programs that allow low-income families in developing countries make a living. He began his remarks recalling his maiden trip to Bangladesh when he first Dr. Yunus. When he first met Dr. Yunus. I am going to offer him, Dr. Yunus, my full support to him today. I believe in him. I did 20 years ago, and I do today. I urge President Biden to support him as well. I know Dr. Yunus has the best interests of the Bangladeshi people at the heart and will do his utmost in this challenging time, he said. In August, Sheikh Hasina stepped down from Prime Minister and fled the country to India amid student mass upsurge. Days after her ousting, Professor Dr. Yunus was sworn in to lead the interim government until new elections can be held. Imagine my surprise last month. Hasina finally resigned as Prime Minister of Bangladesh amid massive public protests, and the students who were leading the protests demanded that the leader of their country be none other than Dr. Mohammad Yunus, the same economics professor I met more than 20 years ago, Darwin said. I called him Dr. Yunus on the phone when I heard his good fortune. He was upbeat and believes that the people of that country are prepared now to rise to his historic opportunity. In July, Durban led three colleagues in releasing a statement denouncing the harassment against Dr. Yunus, calling on the then Bangladeshi government to end the mistreatment of Dr. Yunus and pull down the dubious charges he is facing. The statement was followed by a letter sent by Durbin and his colleagues calling on Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to end the harassment against Dr. Yunus. Earlier this summer, Durbin further expressed his support for Dr. Yunus in a speech on the Senate floor. The harassment campaign against Dr. Yunus has been denounced by more than 100 Nobel Prize winners, including former US President Obama. Durbin led the effort in the United States Congress to award Dr. Yunus the Congressional Gold Medal in 2010, recognizing his pioneering contributions to the fight against global poverty. The medal was later presented to Yunus in 2013. Thank you, Mr. Durbin, for supporting Dr. Yunus and the people of Bangladesh. Harris and Trump to clash as American awaits next twist. Philadelphia, September 10, 2024. BSS, AFP. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump will clash in their first and possibly last televised debate Tuesday in a potentially game-changing moment for the blockbuster 2024 US presidential election. The stakes could hardly be higher for the Democratic Vice President and Republican former president, as tens of millions of American voters tune in to see them finally face off. A single ginger or gaffe could tip the balance of one of the most dramatic White House races in US political history, with the two rivals neck and neck in the polls with less than 2 months until election day. For Harris, 59, it will be a critical chance to win over voters who still know little about her, as her honeymoon starts to fade after suddenly replacing President Joe Biden in July. Trump, 78, will meanwhile try to box in Harris on issues like the economy and immigration, but may also unleash more the racist and sexist insult that he is directed her way during the campaign. The two candidates will also be meeting in person for the first time at the ABC News debate in Pennsylvania, adding to the potential for a bruising confrontation. This debate may down in the history books break out the popcorn, said Andrew Onesaski, a former press secretary for US Senate leader Chuck Schumer. No floor. Harris, America's first female black and South Asian vice president, arrived in Philadelphia on the eve of the ABC News debate after 5 days holed up in a hotel doing intense practice session. One of her aides even reportedly dressed up in a Trump-style boxy suit and long tie so she could get used to unloading her best lines on her opponent. Trump's team said he has taken a more relaxed approach ahead of his seventh presidential debate, choosing to arrive in Philadelphia just hours before and keeping his preparations limited. The debate may lack the full-scale shouting matches of previous years, as the two candidates' microphones will be muted when they are not speaking, at the Trump team's request. But it will still be a potential turning point, as well as a contrast in styles. In one corner is a former prosecutor who has in the past delivered age-old put-downs to debate rivals including Biden himself and Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence in the past. There is no floor for him in terms of how he will go. Harris said in a radio interview broadcast Monday, he is probably going to speak a lot of untruths, like a boxer. In the other corner is Trump, the most brutal knife fighter in US politics, who has been convicted of falsifying business records to cover up a porn stars scandal and is accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election. You can't prepare for President Trump. His spokesman Jason Miller said, imagine like a boxer trying to prepare for Floyd Mayweather or Muhammad Ali. Harris, in many ways, has the most to prevent at the debate. Her campaign suffered a setback at the weekend when a major New York Times Siena poll showed Trump ahead by 48 to 47%, with the two candidates effectively tied in the half a dozen major battleground states. She will be under pressure to spell out her so far vague policy manifesto to voters who, according to the New York Times poll, said they would need to know more about her. Former reality TV star Trump is far by the more experienced presidential debate with six under his belt, but swing voters may be put off if he insults the candidate aiming to become America's first woman president. Trump is still reveling in the fact that his last debate opponent, the 81-year-old Biden, performed so catastrophically that he was forced to withdraw from the race. World Trade Organization bridge digital divide to leverage global trade opportunities. WTO, World Trade Organization. Geneva, Switzerland, September 10, 2024, BSS. The World Trade Organization, WTO, has asked the low and middle income countries to bridge the digital divide, tackle regulatory capacity, and compliance issues to take full advantage of global trade opportunities. The organization came up with call at its World Trade Report 2024 released on Monday. The theme of the report is trade and inclusiveness, how to make trade work for all. It is also laid emphasis on a comprehensive strategy that integrates open trade with supportive domestic policies to make trade more inclusive, such as vocational training, unemployment benefits, education for a more skilled and mobile workforce, competition policy to ensure consumers benefit from lower prices, reliable infrastructure, and well-functioning financial markets. The 2024 edition of the WTO's World Trade Report represented strong evidence that trade has played a crucial role in narrowing the income gap between economies since the WTO was established 30 years ago. The report said greater international trade cooperation is also necessary to address evolving challenges in areas crucial to the future of trade. Better coordination among international organizations would help to leverage synergies and complementary policies and reinforce their impact on inclusiveness across and within economics, it added. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from the is, report is its reaffirmation of trade's transformative role in reducing poverty and creating shared prosperity, contrary to the currently fashionable notion that trade and institutions like the WTO have not been good for poverty or for poor countries and are creating a more unequal world, said WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. But the second biggest takeaway is that there is much more we can do to make trade and the WTO work better for economies and people left behind during the past 30 years of globalization, she added. Examining how international trade has contributed to making the global economy more inclusive, the WTO report showcased data establishing a strong link between trade participation and the narrowing of income disparities among economies. From 1996 to 2021, a high trade share in GDP is significantly correlated to faster growth in low and middle income economies, converging to the level of GDP per capita in high income economies, it added. Moreover, membership in the WTO and its predecessor, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade (GATT), has boosted trade between members by an average of 140%, while economies that undergo rigorous WTO accession negotiations are shown to grow 1.5 percentage points faster during their accession period. Analysis further suggested that trade cost reductions between 1995 and 2020 led to a 20 to 25% faster economic convergence of low and middle income economies with high income economies. Contrary to common belief, the report found weak correlation between trade openness and within country income equality based on a comparison of the 2021 Gini Inequality Index and Trade Openness Index of 156 economies. The report also highlighted challenges, noting that many economies with weak trade participation and high commodity dependence have been left behind. Between 1996 and 2021, low and middle income economies that grew slower than the average high income economy income income per capita terms represented 13% of the global population and were mainly in Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East, it added. It mentioned that low and middle income economies that have lagged behind generally tend to engage less in international trade, receive less foreign direct investment, rely more on commodities, export less complex products, and trade with fewer partners. Less trade will not promote inclusiveness, nor will trade alone, said WTO Chief Economist Ralph Osa. True inclusiveness demands a comprehensive strategy, one that integrates open trade with supportive domestic policies and robust international cooperation, he added. This is the voice over text of different news published in the Bangladesh সংবাদ সংস্থা. from September 9, 2024 through September 10, 2024. Thanks for watching. Comment, share, and subscribe if you like.